On 5-minute questions. Dr. Woodcock, I think all of us on the panel, maybe every senator, are interested in drug prices that are as low as is reasonable. The statutory mission of the FDA is safe and effective drugs. It's not to set drug prices. Am I correct? Is it also correct, though, that one of the effects of and then you just said in your testimony, over the last 30 years of the Hatch-Waxman amendments and the generic movement that's gone from 0 to 88% has been a massive reduction or avoidance of higher drug prices? And that, did you say $1.7 trillion in savings?
Right, 1.7 trillion has been estimated.
$1.7 trillion, and it would make sense then that we should focus our attention on ways to continue to make generic drugs available to as many people as possible. Two ways we've sought to do that in the committee are to avoid unnecessary regulatory burdens and to make sure we have a competitive marketplace where prices are low. I want to ask you, and you invited this really, about the backlog. 30 years ago, the hope was that generic approvals could be 180 days. There was a backlog of 4,700 applications waiting to be reviewed, I guess, in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Then there have been a lot more applications since then. You described those. The median approval for a time to get review of a generic drug was 30 months 4 years ago. Today, the approval time seems to be higher, 48 months, and you're approving about the same number of new drugs. Yet, over that period of time, you've collected $1 billion and hired 1,000 new people. What can we do about the backlog and the approval time? Help us understand what the facts are.
Well, let me walk you through this. It's a little complicated. The backlog applications that were sitting there in 2012 when we put the program in place, okay, have been there for 40 months. We've approved a lot of them. We've taken action on 82% of these, all right? Some type of action. We've gone back to the manufacturer, they've withdrawn some, and so forth, right? But they have been there since 2012. So even if we approved all of them tomorrow, their approval time would be 40 months, because that was 40 months ago. And the longer it takes, just like the rest of us, they're not getting any younger. Okay, so those applications that were sitting there in 2012 are going to, at minimum, have approval time, total time to approval of 40 months, because they started 40 months ago. The ones that we're getting in now have a due date for a complete response of 15 months. We have already approved some in the previous cohort last year that had 15-month time frame. We approved a drug in 9 months.
So you're saying the new applications have a different median time?
They do. They were the first ones that had goals. None of these others, the 2012 pending, and then the first 2 years of the program, had no goals assigned to them.
What about the number of approvals today as compared with a few years ago?
If you look at the chart in my testimony, you'll see that we didn't do, in the first 2 years of GDUFA, we didn't jump up approvals. It was pretty much up and down. In April of last year, approvals went up, and they have stayed up. And as I said, last month we approved or TA'd 99 generic drugs. So we're on a path to get these efficiently out the door now. We had to build the program. We had to get this IT system. We had to hire and train these people.
Let me ask, if I may, one more question, and I don't want to go over my time. I want to make sure that you're making the distinction between what a guidance requires and a regulation requires. I know the Office of Management and Budget is interested in that. And I've heard some concerns about one proposed guidance on quality for generic manufacturers that would impose new obligations to submit reports. Are you making a distinction between guidances which don't have the rule of law and regulations which may have the rule of law, but do require a certain amount of public comment?
We certainly do, and we have, as part of implementing this program, we've put a policy office in the Office of Generic Drugs and established a new policy office in the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality, which does the quality regulation. And both of those offices, part of their function, their staff partly by lawyers, is to make sure we follow good guidance practices and follow the appropriate practices for regulations.
Thank you very